What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Home Built Workshop. How many of you have projects that have been lingering around for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe over 2 years? Show of hands. I'm one of them. Today, we're going to check off one of those projects for me. This is very simple, but it's one that I've been meaning to get to for a very long time. Gonna finally take the time to make this buff rake for my homemade chop buffer. Stick around. Really quick, simple build, but I'm glad to have it done. Quite a while back when I made this simple shop buffer, I also ordered up an insert for a buff rake. I ordered it up with no handle because I thought it'd be kind of fun if we used this as a project and made just a simple handle. Well, that was a long time ago. I still haven't done that yet. I have been saving this piece of elm to use specifically for this project. I like this one because the grain is fairly straight and I thought it would work really well. I'm tired of moving this thing around the shop. It keeps getting moved because it's always in the way. In fact, I've already lost the screws. I don't want to lose anything else, so it's time to turn this into a simple handle. So looking at this piece of elm before I start cutting it down, there should be plenty of material here. I need a piece that's about 2 inches wide by at least 3/4 of an inch thick. Should be plenty of material there. We need about 15 or 16 inches long, so I believe it's still going to be perfect. In order to be able to break this piece down, I need a straight line that I can follow at the bandsaw to remove the live edge. And we'll clean up that cut with my trusty number 5. See, I use hand tools sometimes. Now with that freshly squared up edge on the bandsaw table, I'm going to resaw this piece down to about 1 inch thick. We'll end up just a little bit under by the time we sand and get this thing done. Elm is the stinkiest wood. I don't know what it is. Something in there just smells horrible. Ugh, it's almost burning my nose. Ugh. With the piece cut down to its final length, I'm now going to mark out the center and where the metal portion of the buff rake is going to sit. Now I'm going to use a compass to just scribe a couple of lines on here. This is going to mark out the thickness of the handles and where I need to trim the material away. The compass makes it really quick and easy to get lines that are the same distance away from the edge without really having to do a whole lot of measuring. And it's these pieces right here that I need to cut away over on the bandsaw. And there's the roughed out handle. We now just need to spend a bunch of time with some files, smoothing out the corners, getting everything nice and even, basically removing the bandsaw marks. And now I'll test fit the buff rake. And while it's on there, I'll mark out the locations of the mounting holes so that I can drill some pilot holes. But first, a quick round over to soften all of the edges. So you can see I left the corner square here. This is the side that the rake is going to go on. Now I'll drill a hole which can be used for hanging, or I'll probably just end up attaching a piece of leather to hang it up by. And now, we sand. For a finish on this little piece, I want to keep it really simple. I'm going to try some of this tung oil finish. Now this is a finish that I have not tried on wood. Those of you that have seen the Q&A video, you'll know that I'm not really a fan of tung oil because it just smells really bad. It takes forever to dry. This is quite different than pure tung oil. This has some sort of blends in it, dryers, different things, and we're going to see how this works out. Kind of as a test. Hopefully this doesn't have that awful stink of pure tung oil. After applying the finish, it doesn't have that nasty tung oil stink. It smells more like mineral spirits. That's probably one of the key ingredients into making whatever goes into this. Now I can just tap the buff rake in place, and I managed to find some replacement screws to attach it. There we go. All ready to try out. And I can definitely see where it has removed a lot of that caked on stuff. It kind of gets glossed over on here. It's looking a lot better. You can see all the crusty stuff that's already come off of there after just a few seconds. Nice. Well, there we have it, guys. A project that has been over 2 years in the making. Not because it's hard or anything, but just because I never took the time to get it done. But now I'm super glad to have it done. It's kind of one of those projects that I can now take off of my mental checklist. I don't have to keep worrying about it and meaning to get to it one day, because it's done. I really like the way that tung oil finish looks on this elm. It's got a nice color to it. Didn't darken it up a whole lot, and it doesn't have that funky smell that pure tung oil has. So definitely like that. I'm gonna have to try that finish out a little bit more. So for me, sometimes a project is not necessarily about how complex it is. Sometimes you just need to take a little while, get out in the shop, take your mind off of things, especially this day and age. It's good for the soul really to get out there and just make something. Doesn't matter if it's simple, doesn't matter if it's complex, just spend some time creating something from a piece of wood. Thanks a lot for checking out this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I also hope you get to spend some time making and creating some cool stuff yourself. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time. Stinky elm. I think maybe that's the species. This is stinky elm. Is that the species? I think it's actually Siberian elm, but I'm gonna now call it stinky elm. Those of you that know, you know. Hopefully it doesn't have that awful stink of pure tung oil. That sounded pretty cool.